The situation you're in, where your life is taking you, oftentimes dictates what kind of a partnership you want when you meet your forever person. And where most, I think the majority of people, when they really meet someone that they go, I want to share a life forever, they get legally married. But there are a lot of people who don't want that legality. They don't want that religious ceremony. They don't want to spend money on a wedding. And what those people choose to do is they opt for a domestic partnership. The majority of partners or relationships we see right now aren't really partnerships. They're more the Gen Zs and then 30 and 40 and sometimes older people, they're cohabitating. With cohabitating, it's a lot different because there aren't any rules. They kind of make their own rules, and this person isn't necessarily their forever person. This person, it sometimes is helping them financially or helping them not only financially, but just not be alone. They're living together. They like it. They're not committed. And both a partnership, a domestic partnership, and a marriage are committed. But the aspect that they make it a ceremony or legal is the partnership. We used to see more of these in the same-sex population, but now they are getting married because it's legal now. And so we're seeing just anyone who is in a particular situation where they don't want the legality choosing a domestic partnership. It really is up to you which one you choose, but as a therapist, I think what's important is that you understand the difference before you decide, okay, this is for me. And there are blatant differences, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just giving you basics. If you really want to know the nitty-gritty of it and you feel like this is going to be you, that you are going to do this, then I think investing in the help of a lawyer is going to be really key in you getting what you need as far as support and emotional support as well as financial in order to make this decision. Okay, so with a marriage, I already said, a marriage ceremony is part of a marriage. Where you can elope, but most people don't. They have a ceremony. They usually have a religious representative, a priest or a pastor or rabbi. They invite friends and family. It is a big deal. It's a celebration. And it's sacred. And I know in the Catholics and Jewish, it's a sacred sacrament. Like when you get married, it is something that you observe. It's a big deal to everyone who attends. With a domestic partnership, that isn't true. It's between the two people. They can decide it after a Netflix show. They can decide it when they're out for pizza. Doesn't really matter. But the thing is that if they decide to do this, then usually they've talked about it, and neither of them is married or in a relationship. The partnerships I've seen are exclusive with each other. They're monogamous, although I wouldn't go so far to say they're all that way. The ones I work with, I think that's pretty much the majority are. Okay, the rights afforded to you are not state or country, whatever, dictated. So the two of you are on your own with deciding your finances and medical care. And so prior to traveling or prior to ever getting involved in a domestic partnership, you want to make sure that if something happened, you would be financially covered, because in marriage, that is all part of it. Like when you get married, your partner has certain expectations, you have certain expectations, but the state and really the whole marriage license affords you certain finalities of finances and everything else in the event something would happen. In marriage, you can cite adultery as a reason for divorce, but it doesn't hold up in a partnership. Part of that is because in a domestic partnership, there is no divorce. Divorce is a legal thing too, and so it doesn't really matter what your partner did, because you're not really divorcing. In that case, it would just be a breakup. In marriage, it would, if you decided you were going to get divorced, it would be a divorce. And once again, you would have to align with the state rules for the state you divorced in. You can't claim you're married. If you're in a marriage, of course, you put down you're married. But if you're in a partnership, there's state rules about limits to what married is. And you can get some kind of, like I'm their common law wife or I'm their common law husband. But there's rules with that too. And basically the two of you both had to announce that and you both had to live that way. You both had to agree to that. And the majority of couples I've talked to have not. They had no idea. So this is why I say, even a partnership, you really should get legal counsel so that you know what's okay and not okay as far as your relationship going forward. And in the event of a breakup, it's important that you understand what your particular relationship is going to afford you with finances. Because in a divorce, the state usually dictates, okay, each person gets half. Or if one person cheated or ran out or whatever, didn't pay child payments, there's going to be all kinds of legal issues for that person. In a domestic partnership, that may not be true. And depending on what state you live in, it's very important you know up front what you're allotted, what's okay, what you can expect. I think that's especially true, like in the event there's some kind of a work accident, and let's say your partner can no longer go to work. What does, they would get money, how much of that do you get? And if you have rules around that, that's really good. But in a marriage, some of those rules are set. So there's less of a worry that you would be, left out, or your children would be left out. And if you have children in a domestic partnership, guys, you've got to know how that child's going to be covered, financed, and everything else. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad idea to talk about from time to time in your marriage. Working with a lawyer is a good thing because you'll always know the rules. You both can kind of put savings in. I just think it's wise, no matter which kind of partnership you get into, that you know what's going to happen should, life changes, life happens, and if, God forbid, you lost your partner tomorrow, would you be okay financially? And that's a big deal when you're talking about forever and the future and going forward as a couple. Whichever partnership you commit to, make sure that your focus is on creating a relationship you both love being part of. I am an advocate for the marriage. I think it's important. I side on that side. However, I think whatever you commit to, do it the best you can. If this video is helpful for you, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much.